Welcome to Behind the Smoke Podcast, Barbecue War Stories. My name is Sean Walchef with Cali Comfort Barbecue. I'm with my man Derek Marceau above the butcher shop at Valley Farm Market. And we are here today with the people's champion of the Turf and Surf Barbecue Championship.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to bring out Dan from Encinitas Barbecue Company and the Corner Drafthouse, and a fellow K-State alumni.
Go Cats!
Yeah.
That's
not
right.
Very many
Look at that.
K-State.
We got the K-State flag in here.
Yeah, not very many K-State alumni are out here in San Diego, so it's a rare breed. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, man, it's cool. We're double dipping into a podcast this week because I will be gone for the next. I don't know. I honestly have no idea when I'm coming back. I do not have a return flight from Alaska.
I don't know if that worries me more or your wife more, because I will come and get you if I have to.
No, it's been. I mean, I do this every year though. I mean,
I
besides last year, I always I'm doing my annual hunting trip. I go up to I have a cabin out in Alaska. Go out there and excuse me, and we get out there. Season opens on the 8th. I'll get out there on Tuesday, set up, and we go out about 300 miles from the cabin and go hunt and stalk some moose. And it could be the season opens on the 8th. I could have one on the 8th. It's never happened that I actually get a moose on opening day, so I don't count on that. But we're pretty excited. I'm excited to get out there. Like I was just saying before the podcast, I don't think I've ever felt more alive than I do when I'm in Alaska. It's just something that you kind of decompress a little bit, turn your phone off. This year I'm taking a satellite phone that I'll be able to call my wife just to check up every night. But it's just know that. You're always doing something with your phone. You're always put it away, go out in the wilderness, cut down some trees, make some campfires, build a tree stand, do stuff, and it's very, very liberating to actually get out there and do it. So I'm excited. I always ground myself and find myself even more when I'm out there. I'm very secure in talking to myself in my own head. So it helps me grow. I think some people get so scared of themselves and they don't want to be alone, and I'm okay with it. I like it, and it helps me reflect on who I am, and it only makes me a better person. So
I'm really happy that you're doing it. I know for Rosie and I, we went out to Alaska to visit one of our good friends, Pete Caltag, over in Anchorage, and it's just such a beautiful place, and exactly what you said, to enjoy the wilderness and to enjoy the beauty without the chaos. I mean, we live in chaos. We create chaos by putting on events, by running businesses, by doing what we do. And as much as we love doing that, it is good to decompress. And I know that when you do come back, you'll be all fired up to get back after it.
Yeah. No, we'll see when I do come back. Hopefully I'm only out there for like a week and a half. A week and a half's good.
How old is your new baby?
Good question.
3 months.
God bless your wife.
Yeah, God bless your wife. Is right.
Yeah, 3 months.
If I told my wife I was going to go wander around the Alaskan wilderness for a couple of weeks and leave her at home alone with a 3-month-old baby, I don't know if there'd be a home to come back to.
Leave your wedding ring right on the nightstand.
Yeah, it's it was I'll even talk about it. I was telling my wife a week ago that I was having second thoughts about going, and I was having a lot of anxiety. I don't get anxiety very often, but I was having a lot of anxiety going, and she was just very open and talked to me, kind of talked about it, and she just said, "You deserve to go. I think you should go. It's something that you love, and it's a purity that you have, and I don't want to keep that from you, and I want you to go enjoy that." Because she didn't say this, but I think I'm a lot better person when I come back. So she's probably thinking that's
kind of what she meant.
Please go.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, find it. But she's awesome. She understands it. She understands what I need to do to find myself and do those things. I got a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old, and
wow.
they'll be going to school, and it's my 3-month-old. He's going to be going to daycare for the first time next Tuesday. So that's going to be kind of an emotional day for my wife. It's our last kid that we're going to have, and it's our last time on maternity leave. So it's she was already texting me this morning. She's having a little emotional time about it,
sure.
which is fair. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I chose not to leave early on the 4th so I can help her with the kids, take them to school, and then I leave right after that. She's going to take me to the airport and head on out, man.
Good planning. That work-life balance is hard, man. It's really hard to set that time aside for yourself where you can really find your center and remember what you're passionate about and focus on relationships that are important to you and just drown out all the background noise.
Sure.
Well, sometimes you just have to reflect. I don't think a lot of people do that. It's you're go all the time. I'm very capable of doing that. I don't stop. I'll continue to go. I will push. I'll knock down a wall. I just go. And these little trips for me are, I only do it once a year, but they're very, very gratifying for my soul. And I don't want to get too deep and make people feel all weird but it's truly something that I really, really enjoy, and I find myself, and I find out what I'm doing wrong, and I figure out how to fix it, and I write all the time when I'm out there, so it's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm really excited to do it. A little nervous with the 3-month-old and my wife, but we'll get through it. But on a lighter note, let's get to this fucking barbecue, man. Thanks for coming out to the event. This is your second year or third year?
Yeah, this is my second year at Del Mar.
Okay.
I competed 3 times when the competition was up in Dana Point.
Okay.
Before I don't know if that
Arlie ran that contest.
Arlie ran that comp. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's no longer a contest up in Dana Point.
Is that right? Yeah, I wasn't
Dana Point
sure.
and Long Beach are no longer contests. Which is one of the things we do talk about. Yeah, it's tough to get venues to buy into the KCBS contest.
Sure.
It's a lot of moving parts. So
yeah, and how do you make it a spectator event, right?
Yes.
I mean, how do you draw the crowds? Because that's really the main goal, right? I mean, is to get people to experience fantastic barbecue and get excited about barbecue. But how do you draw the masses, right? How do you appeal to the Instagram crowd? How do you
Correct.
get people interested? How do you capture their attention?
Yeah, that's it's one of the hard things that we have to make sure we do. With this year, when it was a little bit different, how you had to buy tickets to get in.
Right.
As an all-you-can-eat event, that's one of the hurdles that we ran into. It's like, how do you get them to really be excited about an all-you-can-eat event? We talked about it, but it's Gene and Arlie were saying that it's never been done before. An all-you-can-eat barbecue event for KCBS has never
where
been
it's
done.
exclusively, that's the only way you can come to the event.
Right.
And there's events where you can buy all you can eat as like a VIP package of the event. But this is where the only way to get into the event is to buy an all you can eat. And, for Derek and I, it's looking at contests. Yeah, it might not have been done in KCBS, but if you look across food events in San Diego, food events in California, like $40 ticket for all you can eat championship barbecue, seafood, desserts, and 5 craft beers. I mean, fuck, that's an amazing smoking deal.
That's an amazing price. Yeah, I mean, I've been to plenty of beer festivals or bacon festivals or burger festivals. I've worked at them and I've gone as a spectator, and I can't think of a single one that you get that much for $40.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys did such a great job of assembling the people that are kind of the big players in the barbecue world in San Diego. You had Andy Harris out there with Grand Eagle Solid Barbecue. You had Corbin. You had Coop.
Coop. We had Chef Hannes.
Yeah,
Hannes came out there from Pioneer, and it was that's a testament to the West Coast barbecue movement, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that excites Derek and I the most is having someone like you who's a restaurateur, owning Corner Drafthouse, which, I mean, that blew my mind that you guys have probably the most exciting restaurant in Bankers Hill, which is where me and my wife live. And I've watched you guys open up, had no idea it was you, had no idea you were into barbecue, but you guys have this thriving business. And then to know that you guys not only come out to compete in Del Mar, but you buy into the people's choice, the PC side of not only competing in the KCBS, the Kansas City Barbecue Society, the contest, but then doing all the extra parts that it takes to put on an event so that we're not Dana Point, so that we're not Long Beach.
Right.
We want to continue to grow this thing, and the only way to do it is to find people like you.
Yeah, but we almost didn't fucking let him in this year because of last year's debacle.
What happened last year?
This motherfucker brought a keg.
I don't know if that was ever proven to be true.
He tried to turn it into a beer house. I didn't know if you were going to bring that up. I guess it's behind the smoke.
This is
you might as well
behind
fucking
the
let
smoke.
everybody
I thought
know
we
what
forgot
really
about
happened.
that.
No,
Yeah,
it was
keg stands on the fucking school bus. Like, what the fuck?
yeah. So
Premier wasn't really down with that.
No, it's hard. It's hard as an organizer to. I mean, I wanted to get in there and have fun with them too, but it was like, fuck, we can't be doing this. But it's really cool, like Sean alluded to see someone that has so much going on and wants to be a part of this, and then does it at a very high level. You know, you guys did an amazing job to be able to put out that type of People's Choice stuff. People fucking dug it, and you guys fucking won People's Choice. I mean, how cool is that for you guys to be able to hang that on your hat and say, hey, we did this?
Man, it was a great feeling. You know, I was able to assemble a group of friends and family this year that really carried a lot of weight and a lot of water. I mean, it was to feed that many people. And, you know, you look, we were looking around that parking lot of all the other teams doing People's Choice, and the majority of them, they have big, you know, catering trailers or lots of big gear. And we didn't. I mean, you know, we were serving out of chafing dishes and really hustling to get that done. But,
Sure.
and, you know, with my background, I'm a classically trained chef. So I don't, you know, when it comes to food, I take it very seriously. And, you know, I'm not going to put out a product that I'm not completely satisfied with. And we really did buy into it. You know, we said, all right, if we're going to do this, I want to do barbecue tri-tip. We're going to serve it with beans or coleslaw. We're going to do sliders. You know, we're going to do ribs. We're going to go for it. You know, we're not just going to play it safe and do, you know, a small portion. It's like, I want people to really come out here and have a great experience and get excited about this because I'm excited about it. You know, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I've been doing competition barbecue since I was 16 years old. Kansas City Barbecue Society sanctioned events. You know, growing up in Kansas City, you go to barbecue competitions.
That's what you do.
Were you born in Kansas City?
Yeah, born and raised in Kansas City.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the biggest barbecue competitions, I believe, still in the country, the Lenexa Barbecue, the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle, which has been going on forever. I mean, since I think the 70s it started. My backyard growing up backed up to the park where they hold that barbecue competition.
So you're smelling the barbecue in the crib?
Oh, yeah, seriously. Yeah, legitimately. I mean, I remember as a very young child going down to that barbecue competition and running around, and a couple of my uncles would be competing in it, or our neighbors or whoever. And then I started competing in it when I was 18 with some friends of mine. My best friend's older brother got this huge smoker off this guy out of Texas. I mean, we had no idea what we were doing, but we went out.
He drove down to Texas to pick it up?
A friend did, yeah.
A friend did? Nice.
Yeah. And
you gotta have good friends.
Huge smoker. I mean,
truck friends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's plenty of those in Kansas. Derek knows that.
Absolutely.
If it's not a dually, it's not a truck, right? So, you know, talk about trial and error. I mean, we cooked some absolutely horrible barbecue. It was about drinking beer as much as it was about, you know. Apparently that hasn't changed that much.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
But yeah, I mean, we really, man, we made a lot of mistakes early on. I remember one competition we went to. It was the World Pork Expo at the Iowa State Fair. And for another friend of a friend, we wanted to cook a whole hog because, you know, our brisket was terrible. Our ribs were terrible. Might as well try a whole pig, right? Surely you can't fuck that up. So we go out to my friend's father-in-law's farm, and because he was like, "Oh yeah, come on out. He's got a couple hundred pigs." He's like, "You can, you know, I'll give you a couple pigs." And so we walk out there, and we think we're like picking up pigs, and we start walking out to the pen
to buy pigs
with all the pigs in it, and he hands my buddy's brother a .38 revolver and was like, "Pick a couple out." We're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you want me to shoot a pig?" I was not mentally prepared for this.
So, things escalated quickly.
Luckily, one of my friends got really excited about it, and he had no problem pulling the trigger.
Right.
So we packed these pigs.
That'd be me.
He quarters one of them for us, and then we left the other one whole. You know, he just eviscerated it, and then we had a couple big coolers, and we drove up to the Iowa State Fairgrounds and cooked a whole hog. And part of that presentation was the judges were coming around, and you had to cut from 3 different sections of the pig. You had to do like the loin, I think the ham, and the butt, the Boston butt. Mm-hmm. And so these judges are coming around. I think I was like 21 at this time. I was still in college. But I knew the most about food. I've always been into food. And so of course I was nominated out of our group to take these samples from this pig. And I mean, we had the probe in this pig. It was like a 140-pound pig. It was not a little suckling, you know. I mean, we had it on there for like 36 hours, and it barely temped out, you know. And so like these judges walk up, and there's like 6 of them. They're all staring at me with their clipboards, you know, looking down, and I got this knife, and my hands are shaking, and then all of a sudden, like 800 Harley Davidsons go roaring right behind the judges, like the table's vibrating. It's like, you know, rolling thunder going right through. And I'm kind of looking up at one of the judges, and he's looking at me, and I'm like looking at him, and I'm like trying to figure out where the loin is, and like I put the knife on it, and he shakes his head, and I move the knife over 6 inches, shakes his head no again, another 6 inches, and he nods yes. I was like, oh my god,
fuck,
this is a nightmare.
That is pretty hilarious. We run into that here a lot. People don't know where the anatomy of different animals, and like, man, I never knew that's where that came from. I'm like, it's you have to see, like, non-weight bearing muscles are going to be. They're not going to be on the shoulder or the butt. You got to find out where that loin is. Like, oh my god, never knew. Or the back strap. Going hunting, you always have to find your back strap, and that's what that is. So that's a hilarious story, man. So you did barbecue, and you did KCBS, and you're out in Kansas, and go to K-State.
Yep, went to K-State.
And what'd you do at K-State?
I studied hospitality management and business.
Sure.
So I always worked in restaurants. I started working in restaurants when I was 13, washing dishes.
Yep.
I've held every single position in a restaurant.
Coco Bolos, or did you do anything in K-State?
I actually did a lot of odd jobs at K-State. I worked with the university quite a bit through the hospitality management program, but I was involved in the fraternity. I was a ATO, Alpha Tau Omega. I was super involved in that. I was involved in student government. So I always had a lot going on, so it was really hard for me to kind of hold down a steady job. So I did a lot of odd jobs, a lot of catering, a lot of banquet stuff. And then after K-State, I worked for a little while in Kansas City, and I kind of had itchy feet. I mean, I was looking around at a lot of my friends, and I love Kansas City, but I just kind of wanted more. I got to travel a little bit while I was in college. I'd barely left the state before that. And, it really opened my eyes going to Chicago, going to New York. And it's like, man, there's a great big world out there. I tried sushi for the first time when I was like 21 in New York on a National Restaurant Association trip, nice. and it was like, man, I kind of want to see what else is out there. And I kept falling back into food, right? Like I seriously considered going to culinary school instead of going to K-State. And my parents kind of talked me out of it, get a regular degree. And if you still want to go, you can go after school.
Sure.
So I started poking around, looking at some programs. Johnson & Wales had just opened a new campus in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they were the only top tier school that had a graduate program, a postgraduate program. I didn't want to go get another associate's degree, which at CIA, at the Culinary Institute of America, all they offered at the time was an associate's or a bachelor's. Mm-hmm. I wanted the next thing, and Johnson & Wales offered that. So I entered that program. And the rest is kind of history. I mean, that set me on a totally different trajectory. I did well in school. I graduated first in my class, first in my program, and so I won an apprenticeship to go work and live in London.
Really?
So I did that after culinary school. I worked at the Dorchester Hotel, which is one of the best, if not the best, hotels in London.
What did you learn there? Did you have a mentor there, or somebody that taught you?
I had several. I had the privilege of participating in the opening of a restaurant called Ducasse, which is operated by a chef named Alain Ducasse, he's one of the, depending on who you talk to, top 5, top 10 chefs in the world.
Really?
He's got like 18 Michelin stars. This restaurant, we got 3 Michelin stars our first year. And, a kid from Kansas,
it's a big deal,
grew up on meat and potatoes, going and experiencing all this stuff. I mean, this was back in 2007.
What was your position?
Oh, I was commis. I was the bottom rung.
So
but
it's not about money.
It wasn't about money.
Yeah.
I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
It was an unpaid
there
internship, and that led to more work. But
the important thing was working in that environment.
I didn't take a day off the entire time I was there. I just went in and worked 12, 14, 16-hour days, and I would do any job that they would let me do. It wasn't about me or my ego. It's like, I'm here to learn. This is my graduate school.
Put me in.
Right? I'll peel every vegetable. I'll clean.
Sure.
I'll scrub anything. Just teach me, show me what you're doing.
Well, that's how the best hospitality people rise to the top. You have to be willing to do it. You have to touch everything. That's
right.
how you learn. The same thing happens here. What Derek talks about, what we talk about at the restaurant. If someone's not willing to wash the dishes, chances are they're not going to go very far in the hospitality business.
Yeah. That's, and culinary school was a pretty eye-opening experience for me too. First being, it was a lot of light bulb moments. I had always cooked. My parents love to tell the story about how I stayed home sick from school one day, and they came home and I baked an apple pie from scratch when I was like 8 years old. Right? I've always loved food. Always loved cooking.
I didn't love to cook so much. I love to eat.
I come from this massive Irish Catholic family in Kansas. My mom had 7 sisters and 1 brother. My dad had 3 brothers. I got dozens of cousins, and the whole family gets together constantly, and big cookouts and barbecues, and I was always so curious about processes in cooking, right? It's like, well, why do I have to do this in this order? Why is that important? And culinary school for me was like, oh, now I get it. Right. Like, I'm developing layers of flavor, and I'm not going to have that punch in the mouth if I don't do this in the right order, or the right texture of a braise, or the right viscosity of a sauce, or, all those things are so important, and, balance and texture. And so culinary school was that for me. And then going and having this experience in London was like next level shit. I mean, at Ducasse, the restaurant that I was referencing, there were 5 restaurants at the hotel at that time. 3 of them had Michelin stars, and I got to work in all of them.
Wow.
But this was kind of when molecular gastronomy was having a moment. Before even it was a big deal in the United States. And the chef that was there previously worked at El Bulli, and Ferran Adrià's acclaimed restaurant in Spain. And so he was kind of marrying this classical French technique with these modern techniques that, I mean, it just made my head explode. It was so cool, kind of watching that happen, and all around great experience. And then
kind of be a part of it, right? That's
the
coolest thing.
A fly on the wall.
Right.
I can't take much credit
yeah.
for the success of that restaurant or anything like that, but it was an amazing experience, and I learned a lot. I learned how to respect food in a way that I didn't know before.
Right.
And then that led to my next job, which was at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked there for a while, and that was an amazing experience too.
Big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming to America, I mean.
Right.
No big deal.
Welcome to Waldorf Astoria. And that place was a food factory. I mean, we did on average 5,000 hot meals a day. And that includes banquets.
How many?
5,000.
5,000.
Well, they have 5,000 on staff, and most days there's about 3,500 people there. So
5,000 on staff?
Yeah.
Just in their culinary department?
No.
The
whole hotel. Housekeeping, maintenance, banquet staff. Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a city. It's an entire city block. It's the biggest kitchen on the island of Manhattan. It's the entire second floor of the building, and the base of the building is one entire square city block. It's insane.
Jesus.
Yeah, there was 36 different function spaces. I mean, that place was absolutely crazy. And the big thing I learned.
How do you not get lost?
You do all the time. There are certain elevators, certain service elevators that only go to odd floors, and some that only go to even floors. And you have to remember, it's like, oh well, the Starlight Room is on the 54th floor, and if you get on the odd elevator, then all of a sudden you're like on the opposite end of the hotel, and you lose 20 minutes, and you've got 2 big speed racks full of hot food that you're trying to get to an event. I mean, it's insane, but there aren't many places on the planet, I would argue, that could do a 10-course plated dinner for 5,000 people in their grand ballroom. I mean, maybe Vegas, some places in Vegas, but people aren't even really doing that anymore.
No.
The Waldorf sold a couple years ago, and they're chopping it up into condos, and they'll probably do big events and stuff, but not on the scale that they used to. I mean, after 07, 08, the whole landscape of that stuff changed. I mean, I remember I was there in 08. Things got scary. I mean, it was our biggest corporate accounts were like Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns,
right?
Organizations that don't exist anymore.
Right.
And they were having their breakfast board meeting there every morning at $350 a person. I mean, it's
insane.
Yeah, that's so. Learning how to do that kind of food on that scale was a really, really interesting experience. It was a great education. I mean, it really was.
Makes Del Mar look like.
Well, that's it.
Like a walk in the park.
It's like if I need to set up a buffet to feed a couple of thousand people,
No problem.
I know how to do that.
I just need a lot of staff.
I just need some bodies, I just need some bodies. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of twists and turns in my career.
What got you to San Diego?
My wife grew up in La Jolla. So after the Waldorf, again, 08 in New York was kind of a scary place.
Yeah.
Our food and beverage revenue was literally 50% what it was the previous year.
Ooh.
And so the writing was kind of on the wall. And so I started looking for a new opportunity. And I grew up going to Colorado a lot. I always told myself I was going to live there at some point in my life. I didn't know if it was going to be forever or not. But I love the mountains. I love hiking. I love fishing. I love skiing. I love, anything. You do in the mountains. I love it. And so I reached out to a mentor of mine, saying I was kind of shopping around looking for a new opportunity. And there was this new company that was founded by the guys that ran Ritz-Carlton. When Ritz-Carlton sold to Marriott back in the early 2000s, all the executives were like, I'm not working for fucking Marriott. So they went off and started their own company. It was called West Paces Hotel Group. And they were just getting ready to open their first property in North America in Telluride, Colorado. And I got in touch with them. The chef called me up. He liked my resume. We had a great 2-hour conversation on the phone. It was like I was talking to a friend of mine. We just kind of hit it off. And he offered me the position. I was still in New York. We'd never met, never met face to face. He's like, why don't you come help me open this hotel? So that's what I did. I packed up all my shit, which wasn't very much at that time. I was living in like a, shoebox in New York and Brooklyn and Williamsburg. And I moved to Telluride. I flew to Omaha, where my parents were living at the time, in Nebraska, and my dad drove me up there. I felt like I was getting dropped off for college again or something.
That's pretty cool.
But it was great.
Really cool.
Yeah, we opened that hotel in 2009, and I had a blast living in Telluride. Telluride is my happy place. I mean, it really is. And that's where I met my wife. And she
go to Loy High, or?
Well, she actually went to high school in Telluride.
Oh, okay.
So when she was in kind of middle school, her parents decided that they wanted to kind of raise their kids in a small town environment. And
really?
So they relocated to Telluride.
Cool.
And she wasn't in high school when I met her. I met her when she was in college. She was back visiting one summer. She was going to Westmont in Montecito in Santa Barbara, and she was visiting. It was like the first week into summer, and we met that summer, and she ended up staying for the rest of the summer. And then she went back and finished college, and then I moved back to New York. I went from New York to Telluride back to New York City because the same company that I worked for in Telluride was opening their new flagship hotel in Midtown Manhattan, 36th and Fifth Avenue. It was called the Setai Fifth Avenue Hotel. Now it's called the Langham Fifth Avenue. But that's a whole...
When along this journey did you get the entrepreneurial bug to open up your own
I think
restaurant?
I've always kind of had it. My dad's an entrepreneur. Both my grandfathers were entrepreneurs. I mean, I kind of hit this point in my career after I opened the hotel in New York where I was like, I'm kind of tired of killing myself for other people. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that I was so arrogant to be like, I've already learned everything I need to know. I want to go work for myself now. It was more like, I'm killing myself. I mean, literally when I opened the hotel in New York, I was working 100 hours a week. I went 3 months without taking a single day off. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was absolutely fried at the end of that.
Sure.
Now, I learned a ton. I mean, we worked with 98 different vendors. We had a Michelin star hotel or restaurant in the hotel. We had 24-hour in-room dining. We had banquets. I mean, it was a 24/7 gig, 365. I mean, the hotel never closed. And so just grinding that out. I was like, I'm tired of working this hard for somebody else. I want to work this hard for myself. And I didn't have a vision of what I wanted to do. I didn't have that epitome of I'm going to go do this because I know I'm going to kill it and this is where my comfort zone is. Forever I used to just daydream about concepts. So I want to open up an Asian fusion. I want to open up a barbecue joint. I want to do a steakhouse. And I want to do it right with a dry aging room. And all this stuff that I've learned and all this stuff I've been exposed to and all this stuff that I've seen that I'm passionate about. I was kind of schizophrenic. And now the way I look at deals and the way I look at new projects, I back into it. I look for a great location. I check out the neighborhood and see if it's an area that I want to be in and invest in. And, if it's a demographic that I think that I can cater to, that I understand. And then when I find that space, then I say, okay, what makes the most sense here? I totally back into it. I say, you know what? I think the Corner Drafthouse is the right concept for this area. There's nothing casual. There's nobody doing really craft beer. And I know that if I really put a lot of thought and effort into this food, we could probably surprise some people. I feel like a lot of craft beer places in San Diego, sometimes the food's kind of an afterthought. It's like I want people to come in here and exceed their expectations. And so my business partner Dave and I, he's also owns the beer garden in Encinitas. I can't take all the credit. I mean, he and I are great friends and great business partners, and we kind of have complementary skill sets. His background's kind of construction, and that's one of my blind spots. I mean, that was one of my biggest hurdles in opening a restaurant. It's like, man, I've heard horror stories about people losing their asses during construction, permitting with the city. I mean, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's really where a lot of his strengths lie. And so, it was a very short conversation when we decided what concept we were going to do. It was like, man, it totally makes sense. There's nothing casual. There's no place where you can, take a group of people for brunch, or go sit by yourself at the bar and have a burger and watch a game, or take a date, have a date night.
And it's not just, some craft beer. You have 70 taps, right?
70 taps, that's right.
70 taps, and you guys are open. Is your food open the whole time while you're...
Well, our
your hours?
Our full kitchen is open till 10.
Okay.
And then on Friday and Saturday night, we keep the kitchen open, serving a late night menu till 11 o'clock.
Okay. And then the store closes?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
We're not a late night spot.
Cool.
Our liquor license only allows us to go to 12, but if it was 2, I don't know if we would even stay open till 2.
Yeah.
It's like my dad says, nothing good happens after midnight.
That's
right?
what
Cinderella.
Bill Snyder, that was his, when
nothing
he
good
quote
happens.
that all the time. It's
All
like,
the time.
everyone turns into pumpkins.
That's
Get the
right.
fuck home.
Yeah.
I'm like,
the liability is not
No.
worth that extra $500-$600 in revenue you're going to sell.
No.
it never made sense until I realized I was the problem. After midnight, I'm like,
Once you looked in a mirror,
Yeah,
like,
probably,
it's 1 a.m.
you ain't
What
lying.
the fuck am I doing?
You ain't lying. Yeah, we got kicked out of Aggieville for the football team. My junior year, we weren't allowed in Aggieville at all.
That
And,
takes some serious effort to get banned from Aggieville.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever even heard of that happening.
we were really, really, really good at drinking and doing bad things. And coach just like you're. It wasn't anyone like the police or anything. It was our coach.
I was going to say the business has probably missed you guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't kid yourself. I was still there. I was like, if you guys see anyone in football, just tell me to go hide out, hide in kitchens and stuff.
I don't know how you hide in the woods, but you're not very. It's pretty easy to see when Derek's coming.
No, it's. I'm nifty, dude. I'm nifty. No, but it was. We got banned, and we would. We were all-star drinkers out there in good old Aggieville. It was cool.
That's awesome.
So you got 70 taps.
70 taps,
You have your food's open. You're on year 4?
No, we just celebrated our second anniversary in June.
Second anniversary. And what are we looking for? Like what's our Corner Drafthouse? Where's our vision? What are we doing?
So, we constantly try and get better. That is the goal. Every day, every week, every month, every year. How can we improve? How can we get better? We just had a meeting this week. We met with our general manager and our executive chef. We have a really solid crew that runs that place. Our goal going into it was to be owners, not operators. And it took me a while till I really felt like I reached that point. Mm-hmm. And my business partner really preached this a lot. It's like we need to work on the business, not in the business, right? And I feel like the first year I really lived it. I was the executive chef. I was in there every day, almost every day, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, really, putting all the blood, sweat, and tears into it, trying to set that bar where this is what the standard is. It's going to be like this, or, we got to make a change kind of thing.
Right.
And our opening staff, we still have quite a few people that open that restaurant with us, which is incredible because, you guys know how high the turnover rate is in our industry. It's brutal.
Sure.
And it's so expensive interviewing and hiring and training and firing.
Unbelievable.
It consumes time, it consumes resources, it's frustrating, and it's disruptive to the business because, you have someone that, maybe it's their first night serving and they don't have a lot of confidence, and every day you have new people walking in your restaurant as guests. You want them to have the best experience possible every time. So, the being able to kind of take a step back now and really work on the business, one goal that we set for ourselves this year is we want to start having beer dinners where we're partnering with breweries and they're coming in and we're featuring some of their experimental stuff, and we're going to pair it with our food, and it's a multi-course dinner kind of thing that we sell tickets to. And it's something that it's not something we're doing to make a lot of money on, but it's something to provide a new experience for our guests. And we have such a loyal local following in Bankers Hill and Hillcrest and some of the surrounding areas. It's most nights it's like Cheers Bar walking in there.
You guys have done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and that's
phenomenal job.
And I give all the credit to our front of house staff. We've certainly fostered a lot of relationships with people in the area, but they know everybody's name that walks through the door, and they know what their favorite drink is, and they know what style of beer that they like. And if we just get a new hazy IPA, and Rich is coming in, and you're like, "Hey, Rich, we just got this new hazy IPA. It's great. You got to try it." Rich is like, "Oh, that's awesome." That extra step, that extra touch of hospitality. It makes or breaks you. It really does, especially in this economy.
I've lived in Bankers Hill since 2006, and I've watched, I believe, 2 different restaurants. One of them was a French restaurant, another one I don't remember. But the way that it was so secluded and it was so stuffy, you guys opened everything up. You opened it up, and yes, you're on the corner, and you celebrate the fact that you're on the corner. You're across, you're right by Balboa Park. You're literally an anchor within the village, letting everyone know, hey, this is a spot you got to come and not only have great beer, but have great food.
Yeah.
You know, and that was something for us getting into the restaurant business. So many sports bars were serving shitty food.
Yeah.
We're like, why can't we just have great food and also have the game on in high def? Like,
right.
Why can't that happen? And, you know, fortunate for us, we were able to make that happen here in Spring Valley. But what you guys have done in Bankers Hill is so cool because it's so different and unique.
Yeah, you know, I give my business partner Dave a lot of credit. I mean, we got into a bit of a dust up with the homeowners association upstairs about
That's the dirtiest word you've ever said. It's the dirtiest thing you can say on this podcast.
Well, I mean,
HOA.
it was a real challenge. I mean, we bought the French restaurant, right? Because we saw a lot of potential. Again, there was nothing casual in the area.
Nothing.
It's a good demographic. People have money. You know, they go out to eat a lot.
They're building a shitload more condos.
It's incredible the amount of residential construction is going on down there. The Fifth Avenue is going to look like India Street in 5 years. Mm-hmm. But one of the big things that we were excited about was this ability to use these patios. You know, the patio that was existing, and then we added 2 sidewalk patios on Fifth Avenue and on Laurel. And so we got into the kind of this dust up with the homeowners association, and it delayed our start date about 5 months. Ooh. Which, you know, luckily the French restaurant was still operating at the time, and, you know, we hadn't closed the deal yet. And so what it really did was it bought Dave and I a lot of time to really plan it out and say, you know what, all right, I want this area to have this kind of feel. We're going to do lower seating with comfortable booths where people can go, and then we're going to have these big high top community tables where groups of people can come in and hang out. Or we had this lower area with this great big beautiful tamarindo wood table where, you know, you can have private parties. And then and Dave and I mean, and a group of people, we built that whole thing out. You know, we didn't really work with a whole lot of subcontractors, and that's Dave's background. He's a GC. I mean, he knows. He literally, I brought a few ideas to him, and he was the one that's like figured out how to do it. You know, and finding the cool light fixtures that you can't just go buy at Home Depot, and, you know, all those little touches, that attention to detail that really creates that atmosphere. I mean, it takes a lot of time and research and doing the legwork and the grunt work. You know, my wife's an interior designer, so there were a lot of things that I'd shoot her a picture and be like, you know, is this a good idea? You know, it's a smart
idea. You're a smart man getting your wife involved. Get her involved on the front end and not the back end.
Exactly.
What the fuck did you do? This looks like shit.
She is my harshest critic, and I am grateful for it because, you know, there are a lot of people out there that'll just tell you what you know they think you want to hear, and she'll be the first one to be like, "That's not right."
Right.
You know, I know you can do better than that. You know, it's like
transparency is huge.
Yeah.
You know, when you can actually have someone that's, you know, they're not saying it just to be a dick.
Right.
They're like really trying to like, no, that doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It's not working. Those are the things that help you grow.
That's
and
right.
To hear about you talk about how much effort you guys put into putting, you know, the chairs and the tables and lows and highs and all those things. It's really cool because Sean and I we're doing a new venture. Should be doing a new venture here soon. We'll see.
It's low and slow venture.
Yeah, and those details, the attention to details, are what sets you apart. And what you talked about earlier about the cheers, you know, how everyone knows your customer, and you're talking. That's the only thing that we have as independents that sets us apart from these commodity places. That we care so much about the experience.
Yeah,
I don't think we talk about anything more on this podcast than we do about creating an experience and when you come into someone's place. So as an entrepreneur, if you're going out and you're looking to get, you know, a new store, restaurant, whatever you're doing, you have to do something that sets you apart from everybody else, and you have to create that experience that people want to be at your establishment. You're doing that, and that's just awesome. I mean, we're proud of you, man. That's really cool.
It, yeah.
So why someone that's running your new business, why are you crazy enough to get involved with barbecue competitions? Is it the bug? Is you just can't get away from the Kansas City?
You know, I took about a decade off when I was, you know, cooking professionally.
Oh, you didn't have any time in the 100-hour work week?
100-hour work week. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Add a couple slow smokes in
there. If I had a weekend off in there, I probably wasn't going to go stay up all night and cook. But definitely the bug, man. You know, it's competing. It's, you know, you have your friends over, you have your family over, you smoke some ribs. Oh, those were the best ribs I've ever had. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know if those are. You know, It's like, I want to go compete. I want to go put my ribs up against the guys that do this 26 weekends out of the year,
Yeah.
and they have the hardware store in their, in their trophy case at
Correct.
home, and it's always frustrating, right? You always get your hopes up, and you're like, oh, I know I placed this year. I definitely placed.
It doesn't matter how well you did in one category. When you get in some other category, like, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, we fucked that up. I wish I didn't fuck that up.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, it's total heartbreak, but you get that one call, it's like all of it's worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And this year, the way you guys structured People's Choice, I was really excited about it, to see what it was like. I mean, like we were saying before, it's like to be able to provide that competition barbecue experience for the general public that maybe didn't grow up in Kansas City with their backyard being one of the best barbecue competitions in the country. It's like, barbecue is something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I love, and I can't speak to Cali Comfort's barbecue. I've been to Grand Old Barbecue Asado. I've not been to Corbin's. I've been to Coop's. I've been to That Boy Good up in Oceanside. I've been to Brett's Barbecue in Encinitas. I've been to Phil's. I've eaten at just about every barbecue restaurant in San Diego, and I've not found one that I absolutely love yet. And I'm stoked to come try Cali Comfort out. I'm sorry to say I haven't been there. We don't make it out this direction super often because we live up in Encinitas and work downtown or whatever. But, for me, it's always about going out and trying it and finding new places. And I want to see what people are doing, and I want to, get excited about it. I love the pulled pork at That Boy Good. He's Mark up there. He's doing a great job, and he did a lot with a little, which I think is a great approach when it comes to starting a business and opening a business. But part of it for me, I keep coming back to barbecue. Like, it's like I'm coming home, right? Like, it's kind of how I got into food in the first place. I mean,
it's crazy. It's something. It's a craft that tests you mentally, physically. It forces you to bring in friends.
Yeah.
Forces you to bring in family. And it's one of those things. We go through that, Del Mar barbecue weekend, and you learn so much, not just about other people, but about yourself, about what kind of stress and what kind of shit can you deal with. But once you get out on the other side, you're like, holy fuck, that was amazing. Like, how cool was that? And, celebrating those little moments along the way and not freaking out like I used to do back, when we first started doing the amateur contest. Like, oh, fuck, this person's yelling and screaming at me. I think we should probably stop doing this. But
well, and barbecue is such a personal thing.
Yeah.
I should preface my comment about the fact that I haven't found barbecue that I love in San Diego yet with the fact that I'm an enormous barbecue snob, right? And I think that my whole thing is like, it's an emotional thing, barbecue. It's a very personal thing. My barbecue is my style of barbecue. Right. Maybe I use a little bit more pepper than Derek does, or maybe I use a blend of wood that Sean doesn't use, and it's like, it's my interpretation of what barbecue is. It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, it's a very subjective thing. We talked about it at the competition, how this West Coast, the palate's just a little bit different. They don't want too much smoke, and they want it a little bit sweeter than what the other places do. And it's just, you can either do one of two things. You can say, fuck you, like Andy does, and says, I'm going to do it my way.
This is my barbecue. This is how I'm going to serve it. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, which I love Andy, and he does an amazing job. I enjoy his barbecue. Or you can kind of cater to the masses.
Right.
We tend to cater to the masses here. We cook on old hickories like Sean. Sean got us into the old hickories, and
those are great cookers.
Yeah, do a little bit sweeter sauce than what other people do. It's okay. You just got to figure out what you like and what other people like, and then go from there. But is this leading into something? I mean, you're talking about how you love barbecue. You have this restaurant. You're
getting them on record.
I mean, is that where we're going? Is that I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but is that something that you would want in the future?
I'm enough of a masochist to say yes. I would.
Welcome to the club.
I would love to open up a barbecue joint, but I can't commit to saying that it's going to happen in the next year or 5 years.
Yeah.
I am currently shopping for.
Would you be surprised if you didn't open up a barbecue shop?
I would. Yeah.
I think it's more fair.
And I've played around with a few different ideas. Maybe just doing like some catering pop-up stuff, and maybe kind of building a little following that way. doing specifically barbecue. But like I
Doing
said,
some Spring Valley Tailgate and Barbecue Festival.
I'd love to come out and do
Oh, you're
that.
coming out. You've already been signed up.
I know. I just
We just signed you up on
I
the
just sent out a
record.
text to my whole crew, and like everybody's out of town that weekend, so I'm gonna have to round up some bodies to come help me. But I do want to come check that event out and work that event. It looks like a lot of fun. But like I was saying before, I mean, I am a businessman, right? And the restaurant business is hard enough without trying to force a concept or force something that doesn't, you don't have that, like, the feeling in your gut, like, this is it. This is going to be a home run. It's like, if you're going to commit to something, you better have your ducks in a row, and you better have a good plan going into it, or else you get smoked. I mean, the statistics speak for themselves. 3 out of 5 fail in the first year, right?
Oh, yeah.
90% don't make it to the third. I mean, it is a tough business. And so, to say it's like, okay, there's this great location, but barbecue doesn't make sense. I'm not going to do barbecue. I mean, that's.
You have to be smart about it. You have to make sure you're doing the right thing. And I know, Sam, the cooking guy, what he would always say is like, sometimes when people go out to an Italian restaurant, they're like, oh my God, babe, your lasagna is so much better than this.
Yeah.
It's a lot different when you got to cook for the masses.
Right.
And barbecue is something that's so intimate that you have to get it. I mean, when you pull that brisket off, if you try to rewarm it, it's not gonna be the same. You have to make sure that it comes off and people are eating it right then.
Yeah.
Sure. Same thing with your tri-tips and your pulled porks. It's a very intimate thing. So it's hard to make sure that it's all the timing's right and all that stuff. So, a lot of people, the way I would cook, if I can cook my best brisket ever, is not the way I cook my brisket for the masses here.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the time to tend to it, to do all those intricate things that I would do.
Yeah.
But we cook an amazing brisket. We cook a Wagyu brisket on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's going over well. So it's just a little bit different, but cooking for the masses is just a complete different game than what you're doing for a competition.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. Competition style barbecue wouldn't make it.
No.
For a restaurant, it just won't. It's the palate's different. It wouldn't. The KCBS judges, what they're taught to their criteria isn't what the demographic that you have around you is going to want.
Yeah,
so
we talked to Mike Mills when we were out at National Barbecue Association. He told us, he's won world championships, and he's like, "There's no way we're going to serve that at 17th Street Barbecue."
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not going to happen because it's a different style of barbecue.
Well, and there's so many different regional styles too, right? Yep. I mean, I've had the unique opportunity. I lived in the South for a while when I was in the Carolinas and got to try. The great thing about Charlotte is that you're like a couple hours away from so many different cities. You run up to Asheville, down to Atlanta, go to Savannah, go up to DC,
right.
Charleston, that whole region, and every region in that area has a different style of barbecue.
Yep.
East Carolina versus West Carolina, and Georgia and Mississippi and even northern Florida. But and then my folks lived in Texas for a while, so I've eaten everywhere in Austin and outside Austin, Franklin's and Critz Market, and then of course growing up in Kansas City, and I've spent a little time in Nashville and Memphis, and I've eaten at all the big joints, and and they are so different. Yeah. And depending on what either the way you were brought up, from what region you grew up in, or what you were exposed to at an early age, that really kind of determines what you think barbecue is.
Yep.
Do you have hard-boiled eggs in your potato salad or not? Is there meat in your beans or not? Or is there, is it like a Texas style bean, or it's more like a chili, or is it
right.
Kansas City style bean, where it's like got 25 pounds of brown sugar and molasses in it and 3 different kinds of meat?
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, the way I got really into barbecue, I mean, my dad did it forever, and I actually hated it. But when going out to Kansas and going to Oklahoma Joe's and having there, I told the story, but
I have dreams about the Z-Man.
Yeah, right. That Z-Man.
That's
so
our
good.
first stop from the airport.
Amazing.
Every time we fly into Kansas City.
Yeah, so we were going there, and my buddy was like, "Yeah, it's right over here." I'm like, "Well, you don't need gas. Why are you stopping at a gas station?" He's like, "Oh no, it's right." I'm like, "Oh, that line that we have to get in."
Yeah.
But it's so good. But that's where my mind goes when I think about barbecue. It's because that's what's intimate to me, and that's what I am like. Oh, that's what kind of changed my perception on barbecue.
Yeah.
My dad did it when he would smoke. It was a lot heavier smoke. They cook on old hickories,
right.
And it's not as heavy with smoke, and it's a little bit sweet, but it's got that spice to it, the pepper, and it's absolutely amazing. I love Oklahoma Joe's.
Jeff Staney is.
Kansas City Joe's.
KC Joe's.
KC Joe's. Jesus Christ.
Jeff Staney is a phenomenal businessman and a great a great cook. I mean, he started on the barbecue circuit. His team, Slaughterhouse 5, was one of like the most winningest teams for a few years back in the day.
They have all those old photos up there. It's so rad.
Yeah, and he started actually at the Lenexa Barbecue. That was his first competition he ever did. But you know, and then he had a kind of a different path. He worked for U.S. Foods for years. He did sales for those guys, and so he kind of had a unique perspective too, understanding kind of the vendor side of things and understanding where product comes from and the importance of starting with the best quality product. You know, he'll preach about that all day.
Right.
Well, for us, we appreciate you coming in before Derek heads out on his hunt, coming in to talk to us about your Del Mar experience. You guys were very, very. It was so cool to watch you and your team work the way that you did, and you know, embrace the process. Get excited about.
Not at first.
Not at first.
They bitched and complained at first. But we got him on board.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up, too.
Oh, yeah. I'll bring shit up. These are my K-State guys. I got it. They're on board.
So
now.
they weren't on board with the QR code?
They weren't on board with the QR code.
So we had U.S. Foods. We had U.S.
What did we
Foods.
complain about?
Scott Volpe, the president of San Diego division, went out of his way to bring in the IT department to work with Corey and work with myself and to come up with a way to make People's Choice easier and more in the digital age. It's 2018.
Yeah.
How can we make this, you know, a better experience for voting?
Right.
So we got this QR code. We got things printed. Pepsi helps us print signs. And turns out it was great for some people and not so great for other people. In the beginning,
we educate more.
Yeah.
We can do a better job at educating.
Correct. I agree with that.
Once that's done, it's going to be a fucking home run.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of KCBS, not just KCBS comps, but a lot of other events that will want to use this app because it was so fucking easy.
Yeah. And they fucking won.
And they
bingo.
They won. We have a woman today. She's coming to pick up the Minimax grill. She won a Minimax $600 grill just because she was voting.
Oh, from the
Big Green
participating.
Big Green donated, So
wow, she's stoked.
Yeah, she's stoked. We're stoked. We appreciate you coming out here, and we appreciate you. Miranda, our photographer, got some epic photos of you and your team. God, she is fucking good. Do you know how many followers she has on Snapchat, Corey?
Snapchat?
How many? No, I'm talking about Snapchat. 100,000 fucking followers on Snapchat. Yeah, I just taught Corey something about that. Boom. Yeah, you don't do Snapchat. She does, apparently, in Coachella, and she's got mad followers because she's got amazing stuff. But social shout-out this week's going to Char BBQ SD, Patrick Williams. He's been following the podcast, tagging us in his behind the smoke photos. I met him up at Vista. He came and said what's up to me and Derek at the event. He shot us a DM. Always at those events, it's always crazy, but we appreciate you guys for stopping us and saying, hey, slow the fuck down. We listen to the podcast, say what's up. That means a lot to us. And he's posting photos about his hand wash sink. And he was really proud of it. And I said, that's the sexiest photo I've ever seen. We've got that weird, like, oh, I just built a hand wash sink. Like, why am I so excited about that? Hey, we're fucking excited that you bought that hand wash sink.
Absolutely. Cool.
So congrats to him. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We'll get the Spring Valley Barbecue Festival, all the registration forms up, hopefully after Labor Day. So
sweet.
Make it happen.
We'll see ya.
Hey guys, this is Sean and Derek, and we just really want to thank you for listening to the podcast. It means the world to us. We'd like you to go check out behindthesmokemedia.com. That's our website where we have barbecue resources for you to help build your barbecue business. We also have events listed, so anything that's happening in the West Coast barbecue movement, anything that's going on, we want you to go check that out so you can learn more and get involved. We also have show notes from all the episodes, so anything we talked about in the episodes, you can find detailed show notes there. Plus, you can just get in touch with us. It's important that we're here as a resource for you, so please reach out. Let us know how Derek and I can help you with your barbecue journey. Get involved, stay curious, and follow us on social at Barbecue War Stories. We'll talk to you soon.